In the dim caverns where sunlight rarely dared to tread, Sun Wukong's prison lay shrouded in perpetual gloom. The air hung heavy with the scent of ancient stone and damp earth, a stark contrast to the wide-open skies and lush landscapes he had once roamed freely. Rare shafts of sunlight, like fleeting memories of his past freedom, pierced the darkness intermittently, casting ephemeral patterns of gold and amber on the rough-hewn walls. To Sun Wukong, each ray was a cruel mockery, a reminder of the distant world he could no longer touch. His eyes, once filled with the fiery spark of rebellion and mischief, had dulled over centuries of confinement. They now held a poignant blend of defiance and despair, reflecting the weight of his isolation and the bitterness of his captivity. The Monkey King, known for his indomitable spirit and irrepressible vigor, now found himself chained, both physically and spiritually, by the unyielding bonds forged in the heart of the underworld. Days blended into nights in the timeless depths of his prison. Time itself seemed to warp and twist around him, stretching endlessly into a horizonless expanse of monotony. Sun Wukong, accustomed to the thrill of adventure and the exhilarating rush of freedom, now faced an existence devoid of purpose and direction. His thoughts, once sharp and quick-witted, now echoed hollowly in the cavernous silence, grappling with the futility of his predicament. Yet amid the stifling stillness, a flicker of hope, faint yet undeniable, emanated from the depths of Sun Wukong's soul. It was a glimmer of recognition, a quiet acknowledgement of the possibility that redemption awaited him beyond the cold walls of his prison. Deep within, the Monkey King knew that his imprisonment was not merely a punishment but a crucible, a trial through which he would be forged anew, purified of his pride and tempered by humility. Within the confines of his prison, Sun Wukong often found himself in moments of deep reflection. Amidst the oppressive silence and the echoes of dripping water, memories of his tumultuous past played like vivid specters in his mind. He recalled with vivid clarity the exhilarating battles waged against celestial armies and mighty demons alike, each victory once a testament to his unmatched prowess and indomitable spirit. Yet, as he stared at the cold, stone walls that now held him captive, those triumphs seemed distant and hollow. The echoes of his defiant laughter in the face of gods now felt like echoes of a distant dream. The price of his rebellion against the celestial order weighed heavily upon him in these moments of solitude. He remembered the fierce battles atop Mountain Huagua, where he challenged the Jade Emperor's authority and proclaimed himself the great sage, equal of heaven. The memory of his audacious defiance now carried a bitter taste of regret, knowing it had led him to this desolate prison cell, bound by chains forged from the depths of Mount Five Elements. The victories he once celebrated now seemed ephemeral, fleeting moments of glory overshadowed by the enduring reality of his imprisonment. Each battle, once a testament to his unrivaled strength, now served as a reminder of the consequences of his arrogance and pride. He pondered how his relentless pursuit of power and recognition had ultimately led to his downfall, leaving him isolated and shackled. In these introspective moments, Sun Wukong confronted the stark contrast between his former life of freedom and the grim reality of his confinement. The once vast expanse of his kingdom now reduced to the confines of this subterranean cell. The adulation of his subjects replaced by the cold indifference of the underworld. Amidst these reflections, Sun Wukong wrestled with a profound sense of remorse and longing for redemption. He yearned for a chance to amend his past transgressions, to reclaim his honor and purpose. The solitude of his prison became a crucible in which his character was tested, forcing him to confront the consequences of his actions and contemplate his future beyond these cold walls. Sun Wukong found himself grappling with newfound humility. The echoes of his battles with gods and demons now faded into the background, replaced by a quiet resolve to seek a path of redemption. A journey that would begin with an unexpected visitation and a promise of liberation from his eternal confinement. Sun Wukong's imprisonment was not without its guardians and overseers. Beings tasked with ensuring his captivity remained absolute. These guardians, often formidable demons or celestial beings, served as constant reminders of his status as a prisoner and antagonists who reveled in his captivity. One such guardian was the fearsome Oxhead and Horseface, demonic enforcers of the underworld's laws. With their imposing stature and unwavering loyalty to Yama, the ruler of the underworld, they patrolled the corridors of Mount Five Elements with vigilance. Their eyes, glowing with an otherworldly intensity, bore into Sun Wukong whenever they passed his cell, their silent presence a chilling reminder of his confinement. At times, Sun Wukong would test their resolve, taunting them with biting insults or attempting to provoke them into a confrontation. Yet, Oxhead and Horseface remained stoic and unmoved, their duty to uphold the laws of the underworld surpassing any desire for personal retaliation. In addition to these guardians, Sun Wukong occasionally encountered lesser demons and spirits who took pleasure in tormenting him. These mischievous beings would whisper taunts through the cracks in his cell, their laughter echoing mockingly through the cavernous halls. They delighted in recounting tales of his past exploits, now twisted into cautionary tales of arrogance and downfall. Despite their malevolent intentions, these encounters served to fuel Sun Wukong's determination to defy his captivity. Each confrontation with the guardians or demons reinforced his resolve to break free from the chains that bound him, both physically and spiritually. Sun Wukong made several daring attempts to escape his prison, each one showcasing his resourcefulness, strategic thinking, and deep frustration at being confined. In one attempt, Sun Wukong meticulously observed the patterns of his guards, Oxhead and Horseface, noting the slightest deviations in their patrols. With stealth born of his monkey heritage, he waited for the opportune moment when their attention waned, slipping through the shadows like a wisp of smoke. His agility allowed him to evade their notice momentarily, dashing towards the cavern's entrance with a burst of speed that surprised even himself. However, his escape was short-lived. The guardians, alerted by a faint disturbance in the air, swiftly closed in on him with thunderous roars that reverberated through the cavern. Sun Wukong found himself surrounded, their supernatural strength and unyielding determination proving too formidable to overcome alone. Defiant to the end, he fought with ferocity and cunning, leveraging every trick in his extensive repertoire to evade capture once more. In another attempt, Sun Wukong sought to exploit the natural elements of Mount Five Elements itself. He meticulously studied the cavern's terrain, identifying weaknesses in the structure and envisioning a daring plan of ascent. Using his mastery over cloud and fog manipulation, Sun Wukong gathered dense clouds to obscure himself from the prying eyes of Oxhead and Horseface. With nimble agility, he scaled the sheer walls of the cavern, relying on his preternatural strength and dexterity to navigate the treacherous terrain. For a fleeting moment, it seemed as though freedom was within his grasp. The wind whispered encouragement as Sun Wukong ascended, his heart pounding with exhilaration at the prospect of escaping his underground prison. Yet, just as he neared the cavern's mouth, a sudden gust of wind betrayed his position, dispersing the clouds and revealing him to the vigilant guardians below. Oxhead and Horseface reacted with lightning speed, their eyes ablaze with determination as they unleashed torrents of celestial energy to ensnare Sun Wukong once more. Caught in their mystical net, he struggled against the inexorable forces that bound him, his efforts to break free fueled by a potent mix of desperation and defiance. Each escape attempt exacted its toll on Sun Wukong, both physically and spiritually. The scars of his battles with guardians and the relentless pursuit of freedom bore testament to his unwavering resolve and indomitable spirit. Yet, with each thwarted endeavor, a sense of weariness crept into his heart, a gnawing doubt that perhaps his imprisonment was not merely a physical confinement but a reflection of deeper spiritual shortcomings. In the aftermath of his failed attempts, Sun Wukong often found solace in the company of his fellow prisoners, beings whose stories echoed with the resonance of suffering and resilience. Among them were souls condemned for their earthly transgressions, their voices a chorus of lamentations and whispered secrets that reverberated through the labyrinthine halls. Despite the diversity of their backgrounds and sins, a bond of solidarity formed among the prisoners, a silent understanding that transcended the barriers of language and circumstance. Together, they shared tales of lost kingdoms and shattered dreams, finding solace in the fleeting moments of camaraderie amidst the oppressive weight of their confinement. Sun Wukong, ever the storyteller and seeker of knowledge, immersed himself in these narratives with a hunger born of both curiosity and empathy. He listened intently to tales of heroism and betrayal, of loves lost and redemption sought, finding echoes of his own tumultuous journey within the labyrinthine narratives of his fellow prisoners. In return, Sun Wukong offered his companions moments of levity and inspiration, tales of his own exploits that transcended the boundaries of myth and legend. His recounting of battles waged against celestial armies and cunning demons alike sparked a flicker of hope in the hearts of his fellow prisoners, reminding them that even in the darkest of times, courage and resilience could kindle the fires of liberation. Yet, amidst the shared stories and fleeting moments of camaraderie, a shadow of doubt lingered in Sun Wukong's heart. He questioned the true nature of his imprisonment, whether it was a punishment imposed by divine decree or a reflection of his own recklessness and hubris. The voices of his fellow prisoners offered no easy answers, their perspectives as varied and enigmatic as the stars that adorned the night sky glimpsed through the cavern's mouth. As days stretched into nights and nights bled into days, Sun Wukong grappled with the duality of his existence, a prisoner yearning for freedom, yet bound by the chains of his own making. His interactions with Oxhead, Horseface, and his fellow prisoners became a testament to the complexities of captivity, the psychological warfare waged between captor and captive, and the fragile alliances forged in the crucible of adversity. In this moment of introspection and quiet desperation, Guanyin, the compassionate bodhisattva known for her boundless mercy and wisdom, saw beyond the surface of Sun Wukong's rebellious nature. She sensed the dormant goodness within him, obscured though it was by centuries of defiance and recklessness. Guided by a divine prophecy that spoke of a chosen one destined to undertake a sacred quest, Guanyin believed that Sun Wukong held the potential to fulfill this pivotal role. Descending into the labyrinthine depths of Mount Five Elements, Guanyin's divine presence cut through the oppressive stillness like a beacon of hope. The caverns, cloaked in perpetual shadow, trembled at her approach, as if acknowledging the imminent upheaval of centuries-old chains. With a gesture that shimmered with otherworldly grace, she invoked powers ancient and profound, shattering the unyielding bonds that had bound Sun Wukong to his prison. The sound of breaking metal echoed through the cavern, reverberating against the granite walls and stirring the stagnant air with a palpable sense of liberation. For Sun Wukong, it was as if the weight of centuries had suddenly been lifted from his spirit, leaving behind an exhilarating sense of newfound freedom. As he stepped hesitantly into the light that flooded the cavern, the warmth of the sun on his fur and the fresh breeze on his face were sensations long forgotten yet instantly familiar. In that moment of release, Sun Wukong faced a pivotal choice, a crossroads where the echoes of his past clashed with the promise of a future yet unwritten. Guanyin spoke of a journey, a pilgrimage alongside Tang Sanzang, the monk entrusted with retrieving the sacred scriptures from India. It was a path fraught with challenges and perils, yet also brimming with the potential for redemption and spiritual growth. Bound by a solemn oath imprinted upon his forehead, a divine seal that glowed faintly with the promise of purpose and transformation, Sun Wukong embarked on a journey that would test his character, challenge his abilities, and ultimately lead him toward enlightenment. As he looked back one final time at the prison that had once confined both his body and his spirit, he felt a surge of gratitude for Guanyin's faith and a steely resolve to prove himself worthy of the trust placed in him. The world stretched out before Sun Wukong, vast and teeming with possibilities. Yet, as he ventured forth into the unknown alongside Tang Sanzang, Pigsy, and Sandy, the echoes of his imprisonment lingered, a reminder of the journey that had begun with chains and now beckoned toward the boundless expanse of spiritual awakening. Through defiance and camaraderie, resilience and regret, Sun Wukong's imprisonment became a crucible in which his character was tested and tempered. Each interaction, each escape attempt, and each moment of introspection brought him closer to a profound realization, a reckoning with the consequences of his actions and the transformative power of redemption. And so, as the cycles of imprisonment and escape played out against the backdrop of Mount Five Elements, Sun Wukong's journey towards enlightenment took root, a journey that would ultimately lead him towards a sacred quest and the promise of spiritual awakening.